Every other period.
Okay. All right, it's 5:30 on April 2nd, so let's call this meeting to order. And first of all, the Pledge of Allegiance. Bernie, would you like to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up is the approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion for approval?
I move we approve the agenda.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda is approved. Next is the executive session. So this is for the purpose of discussion and consultation for legal advice with our attorney, as well as for the purpose of discussion or consideration of the employment of particular employees of the district, including consideration of inclusion of such employees for possible reduction in force. I'll move that we adjourn to executive session. Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned temporarily.
Katie Brown. Yes, sir. Ed Ray, come on back.
Yeah.
I guess, listen to that. What we would do another 2 weeks. Yeah, it's probably so, let me see if I can. Yeah. This is something. Again, for that's good.
Yeah. For a little while, I guess. We're on the street.
Different seconds. Yeah. I'm sure.
But I understood.
Oh, we didn't do?
I'm happy for us and stuff.
Back there? Doing good. How are you doing? All right. Yeah, he did.
Oh, good afternoon. Maybe we're doing some.
Yeah, I learned, so I learned this today. I had that if we don't
Right.
I would say have to be the December one.
Right.
Which we did. So. True up
Move it, extend it, and really carry over for next year also.
So I don't know if he's gonna, I think he talked, I think he me, just guess. It's also nothing. You know, it's just, yeah, it's, we may do.
But drive the law, but something.
But they say that if we, I'm doing all the things, just,
All the other people.
everybody, like,
Joe was pretty good at it.
yeah, it was the clearinghouse. I did actually get a look and everything. You know, so, yeah, it wasn't, posted on the ADE website, and then,
Probably want to put it on our.
yep, yes, they each have a copy.
Yeah.
Sitting there, it's for next meeting.
Right.
And then I wanted to give them some more, some more, but I got them, so I didn't use it. My emails, they were there.
Yeah, what is downright.
Yeah, I heard about your house. Right, yeah, oh my gosh, she's going on.
But I was sorry, I made that by myself.
Every round.
And I ate it.
Yeah.
That was funny. No, yeah, I mean, this stuff. Right, I gotta work on the AFR and the. Next year. And then. I don't know, but I did get a note, I got an email, an automated email saying that there should be audit on the grant.
No, that's fine, I'm probably going to board members during closed session right now. When they start coming out. Back.
You're gonna keep reading.
If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all.
And you put up Christmas, that's probably, she's kind of like that option.
I remember when
She wanted to orange. Okay. Yeah.
You get tired of checking. maybe,
Yeah, feel free to ask here and give you access to all the
and then can't have enough eyes on it, so when we do this budget, we have to send it. I mean, Tyler's doing much out of it. I still want as many. Yeah, I mean, I will feel good when I get it. She came back when I get it.
Yeah.
Even though they're hoping. So I should the board, I did the summary of operations. I'm doing, leaving myself plenty of time, pretty much just doing this work.
Pretty creative.
Yeah, like, it's a weird thing. Yeah, it's showing. Yeah, your notes are great. It's yeah, so, yeah, it's good. I mean, it's just. The adjustment has the same. Yeah. Well, the next 2 weeks, board reports. Maybe some practice, presenting it. So, each administrative those facts. Everybody's talking about. I don't know if it's S2.
Yeah.
Take out the guy who yeah, so. Yeah, I was, I mean,
No. I know. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
That's the only noticeable change so far.
the man. Yeah, we gotta get. Yeah, I appreciate your time. No. It's a very good. I got to do this and I'm telling you, maybe. And I told you what on the stuff. Which is yeah, I feel we can't do it. I started, so right here, I had to read this is going to be cheap, so I'm stopping that. I've got higher food, budgeting, finance training, one of the third, so this shows he doesn't. It's so we're not having one at all.
And into the table.
It's probably, cane art pieces. No, it's good, yeah.
late on our timeline.
Yep. I believe you can use public comment if you want. Okay? Yep.
We're missing some members.
Hmm?
Some members.
Yeah.
Are they here? Oh, you setting that up?
Okay, we'll reconvene. Next item up is approval of minutes for the March 19th, 2025 board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
How about a second?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, approval of minutes are approved. Next on to the informational reports, starting with Dr. Jamie.
All right, Dr. Rakowski, members of the board, and guests, thank you for being here tonight. I just have a couple of things. So first of all, we had our Falcon Promise guest speaker series today at the high school. And from what I saw, I was popping in and out, but every review I've received was it was very powerful and good for our kids to hear. We have prom season right now, so this is a reminder to our students to make good choices, and having powerful speakers come in a lot of times really helps set that tone in this time of year. So we want to thank the Fountain Hills Coalition for putting that on, and for our students for going down and listening, and hopefully really thinking about some of those things as they're going to be dealing with prom here coming up soon. We are currently in testing mode right now, so our students have been doing a lot of testing, and special thanks to Dr. Wheeldryer. She's taken on kind of the testing coordinator for the district this last year, so it's a lot of extra work that she's put in to make sure it goes smooth, and all reports I have is that has gone smooth. So each site is probably about halfway through. The juniors did their ACT earlier, I believe last week. They did science today. I know our elementary have been doing different writing, and I think writing's the first one they're getting through, and then on to the different other tests that they have. And then middle school is also working very hard. So it's a long season of testing, but in the end, it gives us really good data, and we're excited to get that data here at the end of the year. We had the Dark Skies Festival this past weekend, and I want to couple special thanks. We had Christy Robinson, a teacher at the high school, step in and help with the virtual reality, as well as Tammy Brungard, a kindergarten teacher at McDowell. Typically, my family runs that for the Dark Skies Festival, but this year, our youngest son, it was his 16th birthday, so we couldn't do it this year. But I was very happy to see that we were able to do that. Jared, our lead tech, set up 6 computers, and people were able to take a tour of the solar system. I also want to thank Liam, my oldest son, for going back up there for an extra hour or two when they had some tech problems to help them solve it. So Dark Skies Festival was very well attended, and I'm excited for the observatory to open and get some students over there taking a look at the all the astronomy. And then lastly, we had FHU night last night for our high school kids. FHU is our new partnership with Arizona State. It is one of our most popular programs. For those of you that are unaware of that, we now allow students to get 30 ASU credits in high school at no cost to families. And Mr. Peterson is one of our teachers for that. He's here tonight. So we had, this boardroom was pretty much full with parents. Ms. Pinto and I did a presentation, and the only change we're making is that next year, we're going to allow sophomores to take classes. So they'll take 3 sophomore year, 3 junior year for their senior year, which will give them their 30 credit hours. So we're excited about the opportunity that all these kids are going to have here in Fountain Hills. It's really unique to us. And we have been chosen by Arizona State to be their model of how this program works. And they were on campus last week and again next week filming marketing materials that feature Fountain Hills as their model school for this ASU partnership. So pretty awesome that our little school is again being recognized for the work that we do. So with that, I conclude my comments. Thank you.
Any comments or questions from the board? I actually have a question. Are other districts potentially going to be cooperating with FHU so we lose our advantage?
I think it's going to be hard because we have, first of all, some generous donors that help. We also are small, and this is one of the things we can do with our size that I just look at a large district and what it would cost, be a very large price tag. So I think this is something that's going to be hard to replicate for other districts. So we're gonna ride it out.
That's a good thing. Okay. All right. Reports from board members. Mrs. Acker, would you like to start?
Sure. I have quite a few things. I attended the coalition meeting, and I think we talked about it a little bit last time, the teddy bear parade, which is always a big hit. And this time it was great because they went to the elementary school, and the little cheerleaders were there, the POM squad, and cheered for them, and then did a bridge so they could go underneath, which was really good. I attended the staff picnic before spring break. I went to the town council meeting where they were honoring the basketball team, which was really nice to see. The Chamber State of the Schools, thank you, Dr. J. It was a wonderful meeting, and I thought Betsy was incredible talking about how great our school district is, so it was really good. Biggest shout out is that I went to the River Valley Honoree Banquet, and I have to say congratulations to Dr. J and to Mr. Hunley, and they were there. They were representing the honorees for education. I did get a chance to sit at the table with Dr. J's family, so that was a lot of fun getting to know them. So it was very good. The Dark Skies Festival was unbelievable. I've been to just about all of them that I could think of, and I've never seen that many people. And it kept going. I went away for a little while, came back almost 9 o'clock, and they were trying to clean up because there were still people there. So it was really good. This week we went to the East Valley School Board Consortium and heard from somebody talking about the different legislative things coming up, so for us to be aware of them. And I did go today to the Falcon Promise, the signatures of where the students were listening to 2 speakers, very, very powerful, incredible speaker, the first one that has been going around all over the country. She's been doing this for a while, and she was very honest, didn't hold back on anything, and they were very open in listening to what they had to say. And there was a family that lost their son last year to fentanyl. Very powerful to listen to and very hard. And I have been attending all the coffees to know what's going on everywhere. The preschool, I am so impressed with the parents that go there that I'm looking forward to them moving on because they have all these great ideas of things they want to do, so hope they continue. That's it for me.
Okay. Ms. Reed, would you like to continue?
I too attended the staff picnic. It's one of my favorite events. And I told Kane there, but I also wanted to echo it here. I was really impressed with his leadership there and the encouragement and confidence that you gave everybody amidst the cuts that we're having to make. And I thought that that was true leadership, and I appreciated being there. I've also worked at the PBIS store, and again, there's been donations every single time I've gone in, and so whoever's donating, you know who you are, I appreciate you, and so do the kids. They really love coming and earning little prizes and budgeting for things that they want. I also went to the Dark Sky Festival with my kids. We had a lot of fun exploring the different exhibits and seeing the different animals and things like that, and I also wanted to follow up with the letter that I had emailed you, Dr. J, and wondered if that had been able to get to the board of directors there about a potential relationship with the Dark Sky Center with a potential kickback for the ticket sales, if that was ever, okay. Yeah, I also did send it to John Kavanaugh because I know he had worked and gotten them some funding, and so I've just been trying to get it in front of the board of directors there. I think there could be a strong relationship with them since they are an educational institution right in our town. I think that's really neat. And then I also went to the Coffee with Val, which I love attending those meetings and seeing the parents and the feedback and the way that our staff is so willing to communicate and talk through any concern that anybody has. I think it's a great opportunity that we have in our town to come and meet with admin once a month and see what's happening at the sites. And then I also, it's a little outside of the school, but baseball is in full swing, and it's been really fun seeing Sam Brooks, who's so involved with the board there, and it's awesome that, you know, our school has a relationship with the town in that way, and more often than not, I see teachers there to support their kids, and I even got to see Chris. He called my daughter strikes. It was very difficult, but it was fun to see. That's what I love about the small town, though, is that, you know, in the end, you're cheering for both teams because you know half of the kids and half the families. It's all fair. Although I was like, that's where he makes his money, is at umpiring the Little League games. But no, it's great to see so many friends of the district and district members at the baseball games. So that's it for me.
Okay, Ms. Duckworth.
Okay, mine's going to be a little shorter. I've been traveling out of state, was visiting my son. He's going to UW-Madison to get his PhD in math. I'll tie back to that in just a minute, but I did virtually participate in the PTO silent auction, which was their final fundraiser of the year. So donated a couple items that they could auction off in the auction, and also participated in bidding against you all that were bidding on those items. And I did win 2 very fun items, which I'm excited for my son and his friends. So that'll be a good time. They're going to get to partake in those activities hopefully here soon at the middle school. I also went to the State of the District meeting that the Chamber of Commerce held right here in this room. It was a breakfast. The room was packed with business members from the community, great turnout, and I have to say that Dr. J did a great job presenting about where things are with our district and the things that have been put in place that, you know, hopefully will help to increase our enrollment. I know he's brought up FHU again, and this is where I'm going to circle back to my son. You know, my son attended a public charter high school in California. They also had the advantage of being a smaller school, and they also had the same types of programs where the kids could earn college credits as well as get, you know, take AP courses and take the testing to get additional credits. So when he graduated, he had 2 years worth of college credits, which was great for us. We thought we were going to save ourselves 2 years worth of college money. But instead, because he wanted to go on to get his PhD in math, what happened was he got to take advantage of the fact he did 4 years at his school. He went to UCLA, but he retook some of the classes he had already taken. and was able to get very, very good grades throughout his 4 years at UCLA. So then when he applied to go get his PhD at other schools, right, he's got the types of grades that he needs to get into those schools. So just a different advantage that it can provide. You could take advantage of the fact that you're saving 2 years of college credits, but also if you have a student who wants to go on to get a more advanced degree in whatever, they can take advantage of being able to retake those classes, take the full 4 years at their school, and then be able to apply and get accepted into these other schools. So I just thought I would share that with all of you. Thank you.
Mr. Hinley?
The staff picnic was really cool just because of inclement weather. It didn't matter. Everybody got in the cafeteria and had a good time, and the food was great. I'm on a strategic planning commission, and one of the things that we're starting to do in the second round is to go collect input from the community again. We had 2 open sessions at the community center, and after we took a look at the age of the folks coming in to make comments about where the town's going, I recommended that we hold one of these in the learning center here and invite the teachers, the students, the PTO, get the crowd that's going to be affected. This is the largest employment agency in the town, so we need to be more participative in what the town is going to do. So we'll see how that comes out. When it comes out on the calendar, we'll make sure we get the word out. The state of the school district, besides Dr. J doing a really good job, Betsy Laveau, the CEO of the chamber, built a really strong business case at the beginning of the presentation. So it made people in the room, because it's mostly business folks that attend those meetings for the chamber, it gives them something to think about as far as all of the dollars tied to students being in this town. So if you get a chance, I'm sure it's on YouTube. If not, I'm sure Betsy will be glad to show up again and give that business case, which is really outstanding. On Dark Skies Discovery Center, I think there's going to be a lot of synergy between the school system and the visitors. There were a lot of people there that were from out of town. So the draw is going to be really big. But it also benefits from the planetarium in our own library in the elementary school. They could probably piggyback on some of the things going on in the planetarium in the Discovery Center, and that's going to be opening up later this year. Talking about August, September timeframe as early as that. What Lillian left out is that when we had the meeting at EVID for the consortium of school board members and superintendents, it was held in the culinary school. Talk about having some good hors d'oeuvres. That's the place where we need to have a meeting. Anyways, the speakers, there was a lobbyist. He was talking about the latest trends, and everybody's heard him. He didn't have any solutions. He just talked about them. And then the other one was talking about the revenue generated by students and the funding, and I tried to get a delta, what the difference is and what the state approved funding and what EVID goes out and collects outside of it. They're pretty protective of that. But the thing is, you can't exist on the amount of money that you just get based on a student count. And then breakfast coffee with Val was good. It happened to be on April Fool's Day, so a little trickery going on. And then the coalition speakers that presented today, this morning in the high school, 2 were the main themes and the main topics. One was fentanyl, how underrated it is as far as how deadly it really is. And then the other part was vaping and how much people don't understand the scientific part of vaping and ingesting the hot oils and what it does to your lungs. So those were very educational and interesting sessions. And as was mentioned before by one of the teachers, you could hear a pin drop. The kids were sitting there listening. It was so quiet. So thank you.
Okay, thanks. Just to follow up on the vaping thing, it's not just water vapor, in case you're wondering. there's other stuff in there. So some of the stuff is repetitious here. On March 18th, the town council did have their meeting and highlighted the boys basketball team, and I gather that the town is going to make a more active effort to promote the schools and what we're accomplishing here. I was also at the Dark Sky Festival, and the thing that impressed me most was the student art contest. And some of those entries, there was one from one of the high school students, it was incredible. It was so well done. And then I was at the East Valley Consortium, and the desserts were good too. So anyway, that's all I have. Okay, on to other reports. Stugo, do we have someone from Stugo here? Come on up. Hi.
I'm Savannah. I'm the junior vice president. This is Denise.
Go a little closer to the mic so everyone can hear you.
Okay, this is Denise, the junior president, and then Anthony's our prom coordinator B. Recently, we had our Buff Puff tournament during advisory. That was like one of our last events that we did, and the senior class won. And then we have our coin drive going on right now for the Falcon Promise Pledge. So like little bins or like water jugs in the front office are being like stationed up there so people can donate whatever. And then, yeah, that's pretty much what we have going on and what we did, and then upcoming events.
So we have prom coming up on April 12th. We have the tickets posted. They're $60, and we have the venue, and the theme was At Last I See the Light.
We also have an Easter egg hunt coming up on April 15th. It's going to be at the high school, and all Falcons are welcomed.
Good.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments for them?
Sounds
Okay,
awesome.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the site council minutes. And these are in our packets, if anybody has any questions or comments on any of those. Anybody? No? Okay, then moving on, let's see, page 32, 33 is the enrollment report, as I scroll down there. And scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And down. I'll get there soon.
We're at a -2 since the last board meeting.
Okay, any questions or comments about the enrollment report? Okay. Next up is make sure I get this right, I have student presentation Japan trip?
Correct.
Yes, okay. Who's going to be doing that? Come on down.
Come on.
All right. As they say in Japan, kanpai, that is good evening. These are some of the students. My name of board members, Mr. President, Madam Vice President, Board, Dr. J. These are a collection of some students that attended our trip to Japan recently. The trip was planned out about a year and a half in advance, and actually it was probably planned out about 5 years ago. But due to some of the social things that were going on around us, we scrapped that idea. So this year, Mr. Salzman, Mr. Peterson, myself, Mr. Sunshine, Dr. Wynn, another colleague, a former colleague here in town, came to put together an amazing experience for the students. And I I can't say we can take all the credit for it because we had an amazing guide. His name was Kentaro, is that his name, Ken? And he was fantastic. We brought 42 people all together. We had approximately 27 students, and then some parents came along, including my mother. And she was fun. I love my mom. So, yeah, it was wonderful to travel with my mom.
He's probably too far from the mic, I'll just say. Yeah. Intentional, maybe, huh?
Yeah. So for many of the students that came with us, this was either their first time going overseas or maybe their second or third. So I'd like to have these students here just introduce themselves. We had many more, maybe just some couldn't make it today. This gentleman right here, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Tyler. I'm a sophomore right now, and I just want to say being able to go overseas for the first time was truly amazing. I'm blessed that our school has this opportunity, and I really hope that other students can experience what I did, because it was truly amazing to go overseas for the first time, and I hope I can go on the other ones for years to come. So, thank you.
My name's Matthew. I'm a junior, and that was my first time going to Asia. I've been out of the country before, but it was really, really cool. Like seeing parts of the world that I've never been to. Culture's completely different over there. I thought it was really cool. So I hope more people get to experience that.
My name's Imogen. I'm a parent. I'm the parent of Caden Sosi, who attends the high school. He's 16 and a junior. And he's not here today because he's going to SCC. He's in class. So he just wanted me to say that I really love Japan because it shows you how much of the world you really haven't explored. And it shows how little you are in this big planet. Japan felt like a whole new world. It felt so different. And to be with my friends somewhere like that is a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I will never forget. It says also how the chaperones did their jobs were so nice, and they were so professional. When needed, also our tour guide was so charismatic. And also he said that he would love to return to Japan, and he never knew what he was getting into, but he was so happy he went. He looks forward to go back.
Awesome. I'm Allie Garrett. I'm a junior. This is my second trip, but it was definitely something special. I've always wanted to go to Japan. It is definitely a different culture over there, so it was really fun to see.
Hi again. I'm Ava Bourne. I'm a junior. This was my first trip anywhere. I've never been anywhere but Arizona, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life. If I could go back right now, in a heartbeat, I would. Yeah, we had so much fun. Our tour guide was so fun. Even being there with Miss Pearson and all the teachers. It was great. I loved it, and I would do it again.
Can we, would it be okay if we showed a brief presentation?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, and jump in anytime you want. Okay? So, this is Tokyo. We started off in Osaka and Kyoto, and then stayed at a hotel kind of remote from the main area, but it was between two areas we wanted to ultimately go to. So they put the company puts us in the middle. We had our first night, we stayed in a really pretty hotel, and were treated to tour a grocery store. And that was really a fun experience for all the students to go in and see all the different types of food, and then also deal with currency. Customer service is a little bit, wouldn't you say the customer service is really remarkable? And they stacked up on food, and then we went to the hotel that first night. It wasn't until later in our trip, about the 8th day, that we ended up making it to Tokyo. But I thought I'd put this picture up first. Here we have a wonderful picture of the entire group. Ken is the gentleman on the far left, and he was our local Japanese guide. And this is the number of students that went. This is by far the largest group of students we've taken on an exchange. This is, I don't recall the name of this shrine. The Osaka Castle? No. It's a little different, because you go to Europe and the names are a little more familiar to us because of the way we're educated here. So when you go there, they don't resonate. The names are not clicking as quickly, but everywhere we went was just as pretty. We visited Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo. Again, I think this is the Osaka Castle. This is where my mom got lost. Did you hear that, Mom? Can you talk briefly a little bit, ladies, about maybe the currency and what was it like to live with the money?
It was definitely different to have to count in thousands. It was definitely very different to have to count in the thousands and to have a rough estimate in mind of what 2,000 yen might be to figure out pricing.
I liked that the coin, it was I used coins more than anything, to be honest, and even my big bills. And I liked that more than because coins here, it's they're nothing. You don't even want them. Most people just leave them. But you want your coin over there.
Yeah, the coin system, everything, they use mostly cash. So it's great to see young people dealing with actual money rather than just tapping their phone onto some device. Here we have, Tyler, what do we have here?
So this is Tokyo Tower, and it was beautiful at the top. You had such a good view of the city, and I think it was 25 feet taller than the Eiffel Tower. So it's big, very big, but it was beautiful at the top, absolutely stunning.
My mom got lost there too. I'm just joking, really. So I assembled some of their statements that all the students made their own slideshow, but I didn't think it would be appropriate for all of us to present. So I just kind of compiled the best, what we had. So one of the questions is, what were your expectations before traveling and to Japan, and how did the actual experience compare? Allie, would you kindly share what you wrote, please?
Okay, I said, I expected to see, experience, and learn about a great number of aspects of Japanese culture, and that is exactly what I got on the Japan trip. Though there were fewer guided portions and more free time than I had expected.
And then you followed up with, what were some of the most memorable moments?
Some of the most memorable moments of my trip were adventuring through Japanese marketplaces with my friends, being attacked by the deer at Nara, learning about Shinto shrines, navigating escalator manners, and karaoke. We went to a place called Team Labs, and the art there was also very cool.
This is what Allie is talking about. You can feed the deer. They'll eat anything. So you buy these little crackers, if you will, for maybe 100 yen, and you just go out and feed. They're right in the middle of town. It's like going to the park, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of deer. And they know what they're after. Ava here, just briefly mention your overall experience.
I didn't really have any expectations. I was just excited to be out of Arizona, I think. It was so beautiful. It was so clean. The air was clean. It was the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life. Even we went to Harajuku Gardens. It was so quiet. It was right in the city, but it was so quiet compared to the minute we walked out. It was insane. I went for the ramen, to be honest. I was so excited. And I did. I got some. It was amazing. Yeah.
So we had a student here who mentioned what aspects of Japanese culture stood out to you most, and a gentleman named Nolan, a young student who's a junior, brand new to Fountain Hills from California. He said one aspect that stood out to me the most was that when they drove on the left side of the road and walked on the left side of the sidewalk, Nolan continued on about traditions, and he said everyone was super quiet, even in the big cities, echoing what Ava had mentioned. Another thing that Nolan had noticed was that there was a Shinto shrines just about everywhere, even in the smallest corners of the street. Nolan continued talking about cultural differences, and he said they impacted my experience by showing that the entire world is not like the United States and that people act very differently compared to Westerners. Ava here, if I can paraphrase, if that's okay, one aspect of their culture stood out to me was their respect for one another and their environment. Nobody was outright rude or disrespectful to anybody or each other, and they also respected their environment, the beauty around them. And there was not one area littered with trash and other things. That's a fact. We didn't see any trash. And there's no trash cans. So when you walk around, you got to take your garbage with you. It's really, really something else. A lot of the students went on. Here's Ava right here, and several of the students, they purchased, what do they call that? A kimono, and they walked around in them all day. It was great. We went to the bamboo forest. Here we have downtown Tokyo. I believe this is what the famous how do you say it? The Shibuya Crossing. It's that intersection you might see on like Instagram or TikTok where there's just a million people passing through the intersection. At any given time, 3 million people pass through this intersection a day. Wow. 3 million. It's wild. Nolan here had mentioned foods, and he liked the Wagyu beef on a skewer, the soba noodles, the sumo hot pot. He commented here in the bottom portion that the food at the restaurants were not loud. They were also very quiet places. And here's some samples of some of the food we had eaten, which is drastically different than what we're used to here. And so to see students come up and decide to go for it, I got to tip my hat to these young people that did this. Navigating language, most of the students didn't have much trouble with that. Didn't one of the students speak Japanese, or nearly?
I think Megan speaks the most Japanese.
Yeah.
But she's not fluent.
No.
She knows some phrasing, and she's pretty good at pronunciation.
Yeah, we have another student named Elena who can literally ask questions in Japanese. It was really something remarkable to see. Arigato gozaimasu, that's their gozaimasu, it's like thank you. You hear that everywhere. Like they're thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone's thanking everybody. It's really wild. Language barriers, Milena here, a student here at our school who I've known since 4th grade, and I did not know she spoke Japanese as well as she did. She speaks level 5. I don't know what that exactly entails. She didn't struggle with the language at all, and many of us slowly started picking up. There's the Golden Shrine here. We're on a bus heading back to our hotel, and then we have the real Danny Garcia down here, who's amazing. Milena here, the question is, how has the trip influenced your perspective on travel? Maybe we can just jump to Allison here, because for the sake of time. Please go ahead. They want to hear you.
Okay. Every time I go on these trips, I feel my worldview expanding. Instead of something so alien and far away, Japanese culture feels familiar and vastly more interesting than before. These trips also make me and others more accountable, responsible, and appreciative given all of the moving around paired with all of the sights and experiences we get to see or have. We have to make decisions and plan ahead in order to be on time and ready to go. We also had to live in a completely different culture. Every time you do something new and unfamiliar, you grow. My confidence especially always gets a boost after these trips. Each time I've just done something I've never done before.
And we're wrapping up here. Allie continued on to say about culture shock. Most of the challenges we face were personal ones, navigation through the airport, bus stations, traveling through the trains. Ava here, if you don't mind me speaking, she said, I think that this trip helped me mature as a person, and going through the airport, seeing new places, having responsibilities, it allowed me to put myself out there as well as just try new things. Danny Garcia, who's usually a golden pot of great quotes. I feel that this has given me the courage to try unique food options compared to my relatively limited palate. Would you recommend this trip for other students? And this is where I think we should really start thinking, continuing these kind of things with our students, because this one was a real home run. If I can paraphrase Ava here, she says, yes, it's an incredible experience for anyone in history. And you two gentlemen will talk just in a moment here. Allie says that another exciting cultural stepping out of your comfort zone to go on these trips is incredible. Many people don't get the opportunity to travel internationally. The memories we make on these trips will definitely last a lifetime. And here's our last picture. So Mount Fuji in the background. My mom got lost there too.
Well, a little bit about Fuji, it was breathtaking. Like, I don't think pictures can do it justice. Like, just seeing it in person was truly amazing. And I'm just really glad that the school offered these trips because it allows students to get like a real one perspective, a real one experience, and get kind of encourage them to go on and want to do something special. So I'm just thankful for this opportunity. I hope that other students can experience it too.
It was really surreal seeing Mount Fuji in person. Like I've seen pictures of it before, but like you kind of just have to see it in person yourself to get it. I don't know. I feel like the trip was really, really helpful for like learning about their culture and stuff because I've heard a lot about it, but you kind of just have to go there to really experience it and like kind of, I don't know. Yeah.
Do you have any questions or comments or thoughts?
I want to say thank you for coming because I'm a big proponent of traveling abroad. I took students abroad, and after retirement, I try to travel as much as I can. And as they were all saying, it really opens up your mind. You see what other worlds are like and how different it is from the United States. And I think it makes you appreciate what we have, it makes you realize what other places do as well. And thank you for coming because I love being able to let everybody go on these trips, but I really like it when you come back and tell us what you learned from it and what you enjoyed.
You mentioned escalator manners. Can you tell us what that involves?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how crowded the area by the escalator is. There's always one line on the left side for people just standing and room on the right side for people to go up. There can be like 500 people there, and they won't bunch up on the escalator like we do. They just form their
Take your turn,
perfect
huh?
lines.
Cool. Thanks.
I too just want to comment that I appreciate you guys coming. I've been a huge supporter and fan of us offering these trips, and especially the way that it gives you guys an opportunity to experience different cultures in different parts of the world. A book I read had a quote that has stuck with me, and it's experience begets empathy. And I loved your summation of that when you said it showed me different people. It showed me like responsibility. It really does something different. And I love the way that you mentioned that it inspired you and that you hope that other kids can do it, have this opportunity as well. Because I think it is something that it's education in a completely different way. And so I thank you for coming and sharing those experiences with us.
Okay, well, thank you. If there's anything else, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thanks for having us here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the Power School breach litigation. Who's going to tell us about that? Mr. Hartman.
I went to Costco twice over spring break, but I'll spare the presentation. Made it out of there safely, though. Didn't forget anything on my list.
Didn't lose anyone.
Dog food. Good evening, President Rakowski, Madam Vice President, and other board members, Dr. J, and guests. Tough act to follow there, but we had a Power School breach last fall, and Power School did what companies do, notified us, and gave us sample letters or talk tracks to share with the community, which we did via Remind, notified everyone. And that was, we really didn't hear much more after that. I was approached by an attorney based in San Diego about litigation against Power School. We don't have things like social security numbers on there or anything like that, but the breach could have exposed names, addresses, birth dates, things like that. So initially I was, what would we litigate? But I did meet with Mr. William Shinoff, who we'll hear from in a minute here. And he explained that it's not a class action lawsuit, it's a different name for it, which I'm sure he'll share with us, but he asked if we were interested in joining the other schools that were breached. I talked to Dave Paoli, our attorney, and Dave said there wasn't a downside to joining, and that it does warrant school board approval, and I invited Mr. Shinoff to present to you all. I'm going to invite him here in a second virtually, and he'll be up on the screens, and then you can ask him any questions you wish. So I will invite him, and then we'll go from there. Any questions for me on that? Okay. Joining in a second. I can just shoot him a text. I told him 45 minutes ago it would be about 10 minutes, so he might have stepped away for a second. Let me see where he is. I apologize for you having to see me on 3 different TVs while we're waiting.
I guess I have a few questions I can ask while we wait.
Sure.
Were we for sure affected by the breach? Like, was our data out there?
You messed it up.
We did.
Nope.
Someone wants to join.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Great. Or me, I guess. Okay. Meet our school board. William Shinoff. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Let me first give you a little bit of background of the matter, and I'll tell you currently where we are in the process, and then open it up to any questions. So first off, my name is William Shinoff. I'm an attorney with the France Law Group out of San Diego, California. I represent public entities across the country in a variety of matters in which they are the plaintiffs in the case. So this issue regarding Power School came to my attention through a variety of clients that I represent throughout the country in January of this year when they were notified from Power School regarding the data breach. There was a lot of frustration on the information that was being provided and the steps that were being taken to remedy the situation. At that point, we started looking into the issues surrounding the breach and also reviewing the contracts that our clients had with Power School and the necessary measures they were supposed to take in order to protect the data and also regarding the notification process. While we were doing the legal research on the issue, getting advised by experts on the matter, there were about 35 class actions that were filed on behalf of students and teachers across the country whose information was exposed as a result of this breach. At this point, what we do know is that there was about 60 million students whose information was exposed as a result of this breach, and another 10 million staff members whose information was exposed. And what we were really looking to determine was how this breach occurred and what safety measures PowerSchool took to avoid the breach. What we knew when there is a data breach is if this was a comprehensive, very elaborate breach that no company could have prevented, PowerSchool would have a defensible position in this matter. Because at that point, no company could have avoided the breach. But what came out, because PowerSchool did get a third party to go investigate this breach, CrowdStrike, what they ended up discovering was that the fact that a third party, we're not sure currently where that hacker came from, and that's something we're going to determine in this litigation. They were able to get access to the username and a password of either an employee of PowerSchool or a vendor, and through getting access, they were able to access the entire database of PowerSchool. And if PowerSchool just had this simple process of having a multi-factor authentication, which is a notification to a cell phone to confirm access, this whole breach could have been avoided. So that is not a complex hack. That is a basic cybersecurity measure that they should have had. In addition, what we did find out from their third-party investigation was that they were actually breached not only at the end of December of 2024, but they were also breached in August and September of 2024 as well, and they had no clue. The other thing that we ended up learning was that PowerSchool, the only reason PowerSchool knew about this breach was because they received a ransom. If they never received that ransom, they would have never known that this breach occurred. And to us, when a company goes and promotes themselves as being the most secure platform in the industry, and that's what they've sold to every school district that uses them across the country, to us, that's fraud. And so we looked at what is the potential remedies that we can take and what can we do at this point to make sure that your data is secure. Because what we do know is their word really does not mean anything. And so we ended up retaining as an expert the former head of the U.S. Department of Ed for cybersecurity. He's actually been brought back in to go and investigate this issue further on behalf of the U.S. Department of Ed. And what he found was that they failed to meet the basic standards of state cybersecurity law and also for federal cybersecurity. And in every state, PowerSchool has a data privacy agreement, which very clearly states that they will meet state and federal standards for cybersecurity, which they failed to meet. So what we're doing at this point is we've started bringing complaints against PowerSchool to remedy this issue and also to hold PowerSchool accountable. So what our goal is in this case is there's multiple things we're trying to do. Number one, for any time and expense that any district has had to expend to go and deal with this breach, whether that's administration time, staff time, outside legal resources, notification, make sure that you are reimbursed for that time and expense. The second thing that we're looking at is that your schools have had to go and pay a substantial amount of money every year to go and use PowerSchool. And what the law says is that you have a right to the benefit of the bargain under your contract. So what we're doing is we are evaluating what is the value that PowerSchool truly provided under your contract versus what you spent. So for example, if you spent $100,000 a year on PowerSchool, and the value of what they provided you as just a cloud-based software that gave access to this information was only worth $10,000 a year, well then you have damages of $90,000 a year. So it's an overpayment claim. And so there is very good law on that issue that supports that claim, and that's one issue that we're making sure that you get reimbursed for that overpayment. The other issue is consequential damages. So as a consequence of this breach, districts have the right to go and decide, it doesn't have to be now, it could be over a period of time, do we trust to stay on PowerSchool? Do we decide to go and move to another system for our student information system or any other tool that you've been using with PowerSchool? Well, what we do know is that if you decide to move to another platform, it's very time intensive, but also very costly to go and move that data over to another platform. So what we want to do is make sure that you have the necessary funds that if you decide to make that change, that is paid by PowerSchool, and that's not something that you should be forced to pay out of your general fund. So that's one thing, because we don't want to make you feel like you're required to stay with PowerSchool because you can't afford to. The other part too is also to make sure that you're indemnified. In your agreements with PowerSchool, there is an indemnity agreement. But in what it means is that if you're sued in the future because of this breach, and as I said, that PowerSchool has already been sued, but that does not mean that in the future, because we are dealing with children whose data has been exposed, that they won't bring a claim against the district in the future. And especially when you're dealing with children, obviously, they can bring a claim once they're 18 and after for a certain amount of years due to a statute of limitations. So what we want to do is make sure that they honor the terms of the agreement, that if a claim is ever brought against the district, whether that's in a year or in 15 years, that they're going to make sure that they indemnify you for any legal costs, expenses, or time or resolution that has to be paid. Because to this day, what we do know is PowerSchool has not honored the terms of the agreement, and that's something very important that we make sure is resolved in this case. And then finally is an injunctive relief. And what we're trying to do is make sure that and we're actually requesting what's called a temporary injunction, because while this litigation is ongoing, the amount of time, even if the district decided today they were going to move from PowerSchool, that process can take 6 months, 8 months to a year to go and migrate your data to another platform. So we want to make sure right now that your data is secured. So what we're going to be requesting from the court is that they're required to report to what's called the special master, that they are complying with the federal standards of cybersecurity, and that your data is protected today and going forward. And so they have made a lot of statements that they are upgrading their cybersecurity, but to us that's just word. They haven't really explained it. We're finding out every day about districts that were notified at first that they weren't breached, but now they're finding out 4 months later that they were breached. So there is not much reassurance from PowerSchool about their competence to protect this information. So what we're going to do is get court intervention to make sure that they're compliant, and that for those districts moving forward that decide to stay with PowerSchool, that they will be complying with those standards, that they do have the measures in place that they're required to have, that they promised in the contract to have, to go and do that. Before I open up to questions, there's two questions I ended up getting from board members regarding this case. First is the cost to be involved in a litigation like this. So we're handling this case on what's called a contingency fee basis. So what that means is if there is no financial recovery, the district is paying no attorney's fees and no costs. So there's no financial risk to be involved. In addition to that, normally attorneys, and we consider this what's called complex litigation, if they will charge anywhere between 40 to 50% as a fee in this case. We've reduced our fee to 30%, so a majority of the fee will end up going back to your district. The other question I ended up getting from board members is regarding the time of staff to be involved in a case. So what will end up happening in a case like this is, so this can be a federal case where we're filing in federal court in California, and the reason for that is because Power School is a California corporation. At this point, we represent about 75 school districts, and what I expect in the next 60 days is it's going to end up being a little over 500 school districts. So we end up having to consolidate all those cases into one. All that's going to end up being required from your staff is to complete a court-ordered discovery questionnaire, which, in my estimation, after we negotiate something with defendants on a questionnaire, should probably be about 2 to 3 hours of staff time to be involved in this case. So with that being said, I want to keep this short and answer any questions that you may have.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, you already answered mine.
Yeah, mine too. I was wondering about the cost. Yeah, I guess we're good.
All right.
All right, no questions.
Perfect.
So thank you very much, and I will be in touch.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So will this have to be put on as an action item on the next agenda to decide if we want to proceed?
Correct.
Or you could do information discussion, so you have a chance to talk about it, and then make a decision. Either way.
Do we have a date that we need to let them know by?
I could ask them. I didn't.
He mentioned the next 60 days, they would have more, so I would assume.
Yeah, I would
I
think.
think
want
we're
it
trying to
somewhere in
collect a decent amount of clients, because in the end, it seems like it's a pretty cut and dry case,
Yeah.
and the more districts that they have on, the case, the bigger the payout, which is good. My only question would be, can they do any better than 30%? But.
No, that.
Probably not.
Yeah, he already mentioned others charge more, but I
Yeah.
mean, in the
No,
end,
that's
it's all
for the-
public funds, it's gonna be return of public funds essentially, because in the end, like I said, it's cut and dry, they didn't deliver on their contract to protect data, that's the whole point of using any kind of data
Yeah.
company, is you expect them to protect it, and so,
Yeah.
my thoughts is,
Does this mean you have to go to San Diego to testify in court?
Unfortunately not. But yeah, he comes here a lot. He didn't say why, but he couldn't make this meeting, so
Okay.
he was there. But
So do we want to do an information discussion or just plan it for a vote, an action at the next meeting? What are your thoughts?
I'm comfortable just planning to vote on it.
Yeah, me too. So in
kind of
agreement?
the same, I don't see a
Yeah, I'd
reason that
say
we
a
wouldn't.
short discussion, mainly over security, and if we have Power School now, if we're going to continue to use it.
Yes.
Yes.
And what are the
Yeah.
data elements that were exposed? What records do they actually have access to, and can that dovetail into other records in other accounts?
Well, if we do it for action, we can have discussion as part of that and still plan to vote
Sure.
or table it.
Oh,
If
no,
there's something like
that's-
that. So, okay, so let's plan on doing for action at the upcoming meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is public comments. Do we have public comments? Yeah. Madison, you want to read the warning?
Call to the public. This is the time for the public to comment. Time limits may be allocated on public comment at the discretion of the board president for the board to efficiently complete its business. The board reserves the right to prohibit any comments made in a discourteous or threatening manner. Complaints about specific individuals, students, or personnel are discouraged. Personnel issues should be directed to the appropriate staff member or administrator per district policy. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to statute, action taken A result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date.
Thank you. So first up is Christopher Angeluni. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but
That's all right.
okay.
Great.
And you have 3 minutes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Christopher Angeloni, and I'm running for Congress here in Arizona's 1st District as an independent. I'm running a grassroots, no money campaign because I believe our government should work for voters and not donors. I'm really impressed by the cultural programs that you guys have here in place and the clear commitment that your board shows to the community. I personally benefited from AP classes, which sound a lot like your FHU program for college credit, and I know how valuable those opportunities are. On an educational note, my father is a retired pediatrician. I have a degree in molecular biology, and my mom worked for the Iowa Area Education Agency where I'm from in Des Moines, which unfortunately right now is being shut down which is going to be a huge detriment to the students in Iowa. You know, she also taught education as a second language at a community college there in Des Moines. And so one of the main motivations for me running is seeing education and scientific progress increasingly under attack. And so much of that traces back to the outsized influence of money in politics. It's time for that to change. I also heard, just really briefly, a couple of you guys mentioned fentanyl. And I just want you to know I'm 36, and I have 2 friends that, under the age of 30, were killed by fentanyl. So it's something that's really one of the main reasons that I'm also running. But anyway, if you're over politics being bought and sold, I'd be honored to earn your support. I'm here tonight just to listen to what is important to my neighbor's community. I'm from Scottsdale, so I am foreign. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me after the meeting or help me sign the petition to get me on the ballot. That's where I'm at right now. Thank you. If there's any questions afterwards.
Okay, next up is Kim Bartman. Kim?
I want to say that Kim is on a crutch because she fell when we had the PTO run.
Oh.
Just so you know, and that was back in January.
Did you win at least?
I did not. I didn't finish. I got 1.82 miles, and Jenny Garrett was with me. We were running in the desert, and I fell on my left side, and then tore my hamstring tendon off my bone. So I had surgery in February.
Okay.
So. Anyway,
All right, 3 minutes.
right, but it's for a good cause. So there you go. So I heard, the news that Dr. Jagodinski had had a job opportunity, and I don't blame other districts wanting to snatch you up because you are amazing. And my heart sunk at the thought of you going somewhere else because the continuity and the teamwork and the stability and doing so much with so little in this district with, not having the additional funding available. I'm just so grateful that we have this opportunity, that you're not going at this moment, but that we all understand the magnitude of how this could have changed our district and what this great opportunity we all have to share this gratitude, to understand the dedication, the hard work, the long hours, how he's been a champion for our district, continuity of care and for our students and staff and community, his commitment, his personal investment. He's gone above and beyond, and he's part of this town and this district. What an incredible opportunity now that we have to not take him for granted, to support Dr. Jagodinski, allow for continued continuity of leadership, allow for our staff, students to continue to thrive and feel good, that we did all we could to come together and have no regrets. Imagine if this entire town came together. Thank you, Dr. Jagodinski, the staff, teachers, parents, students, volunteers, sponsors, donors, and community. Go Falcons! Woo!
Thanks, Ken. Okay. Oh, Krista. In your unofficial capacity, huh?
This is my fault. I apologize.
So on behalf of Dr. J, we have a list of books and a book going on display tomorrow in the district office. The list of books is for all 3 schools. It is short. So just want everybody to know it'll be going on display tomorrow. I will send out information to the community via constant contact, and they will be on display, I believe, through May. So you'll see it in June.
Okay, thanks. Okay, on to action items, of which there are several, starting with the personnel action report on page 34 of our packet. Any comments or questions about that one?
I just had one question. Anytime I see the transfer or pay changes, I'm assuming it's raises. Can I ask what prompted the raises for the administrative staff members?
Yes, so I did reach out, try to make contact with all of you to share that ahead of time. So one of them is the audit that we did for Val Fernandez. We feel that Val has worked really hard to get that audit down, and just like I mentioned in my letter the other day, when we arrived as a team, we had 82 audit findings. It's down to 28, and next year we believe it'll be in the teens, if maybe even lower. So we've been working really hard, thanks to Craig here and all the work we've done. So we've given her some additional duties and some additional tasks that she's going to be doing in the finance side, and we're also making sure that we, as we just heard a minute ago, keep some consistency in that department. I truly believe the reason we had the number we had is due to turnover, and we need to ensure we keep that. Second one is for the Cognia accreditation. It is a massive, massive ordeal. We have to, in the old days, you used to do one school at a time. It was typically just high schools. So the last time we were accredited is when I was principal here, so that's a long time ago. And the reason that it hasn't been due is because of COVID. They gave schools like a 2 to 3 year window of time, extra time to get back on it. But since that time, it moved from advanced ed to Cognia, so it's a different organization that does it. And now they do it system-wide, so all schools. So it is a much larger task to do. So now the elementary is accredited, the middle school is accredited, and the high school is accredited. And we have Krista working. She's taken the lead on all Cognia. It's just a massive, massive thing. So that is the reason for that stipend, yes.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, I'll move that we approve the personnel action report. Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, it's 4-1. Okay, next up is the payroll vouchers, starting on page 35. Any questions or comments on those? If not, I'll move that we approve the payroll vouchers. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously. And moving on to the accounts payable vouchers, starting on page 40. Any questions on any of those?
I just wanted to ask about the Bel Air charges, one for $40,000 and then another one for like $2,000. On page 46 and 50. Watch that one after 50. Yeah.
What exactly did you want to ask?
On March 6th, from voucher 2038, there's a $40,640 amount paid to Bel Air Mechanical.
Yeah, that was on the main, I believe that was the main chiller at the high school repair. Again, we have 3 sets of eyes, actually 4 Mr. Harris, Juan, Dr. J, and myself look at all the charges before they're approved, and the feedback we got on these is summer's coming. We've heard the story before. We don't want to go down to one chiller. We need to have a backup. So,
Is this it's the chillers at the elementary school that need replaced sooner rather than later, correct?
So
Or is
we've
it
had,
this one?
yeah, so we've had a few issues that popped up with the chillers at the high school. What it was is the floats in the cooling towers. I know that was one of the problems we had, where they had broke off, and one broke off and one was no longer working. So that caused an issue with it not regulating the water, okay? When I investigated it, we have multiple outside organizations that look at it. So one of them is Daikin, and they do water treatment. They had done water treatment a couple weeks prior to the floats breaking, and at that time it was, I believe it was working or maybe possibly starting to break. And then we have part of our maintenance agreement is Bel Air Mechanical comes out several times per year to check it, and this broke in between one of those checks. So they had to come out and fix that. That was a huge process that we had to get done. It had to be done immediately.
And was there any way that when Daikin was here, they could have seen that or could have
I challenged them on that, I did.
Okay.
And I just want you all to know that I work really hard with the vendors to hold them accountable. And there's times where I wish you could see me on the phone with some of these vendors, okay? I've taken that very, very seriously. And I did challenge them on that. And their response is that their job is to do the water treatment and not to check the mechanical function of it. My response back was, well, if your water treatment numbers are off, wouldn't that indicate there's a problem? So it didn't go far, but I did let them know, like, we are watching and we're keeping a close eye on it. When those floats broke, though, they had to be replaced because it caused a constant running of water. And I did call again all of you to share that water issue that we had during that time when those were broken. We've also had some preventive maintenance that we have done with Bel Air at the elementary school as well, to ensure that we don't have a problem like we did at the beginning of the year where we have a part that's 2 weeks out break. So I believe that part I have an extra in storage is what I was told the last time I spoke with him. But you all met with Philip. He came and spoke from Bel Air and spoke to you all. I work with him now on a one-to-one basis. I'm a lot more involved in that this year than I've been in the past with John leaving. And I look at all the repairs and make the final decision of whether we need to do them. I will assure you, I have seen nothing come through a third-party vendor that is not required to be done. Todd Harris is also overseeing all outside POs as a second set of eyes because of his work being a former school contractor, and he knows what to look for. And he is also approving them. So in order for something to be approved for a third-party vendor, where we're at now is it goes from Juan to Todd to Chris to me. And that's kind of how it goes. So I can assure you the ones that have come through my office have all been verified as a need to replace them. Okay?
And then the only other one that I wanted to ask publicly was the Stepping Stones group for 4,800 from Voucher 2039.
Stepping Stones is a contracted company that we use for one of our teachers. It's more than likely either closing out or starting with somebody new. And we will be talking soon about special ed stipends to avoid that moving forward.
It looks like that was a sped expense.
Yeah, for high school contractor, yeah.
Before you leave, Mr. Hartman, I have a question for you too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so from February 27th, there's a amount $13,269 to WRE Corporation, and on Google Drive, it was listed as weatherization and roof assessment. Is that like an inspection of the roof or repairs, do you know, or?
Yeah, I have to check on that.
It looked like it was at the different sites and that, so.
Yeah, we're trying to get the roofs, we told you about the school facility board and that arduous process, which is nearing completion here soon, and hopefully get a favorable result. One of the hiccups was preventative maintenance in the past, and I will double check, but I believe that was some maintenance that they asked us to do.
I believe it was.
Comply with the getting it covered.
Yeah, and I'll just give a quick update. We have been approved for roof replacements and weatherization at our schools, which is awesome. And I've shared with all of you, I was kind of afraid to say it out loud because, I say it out loud and it doesn't happen, right? So, but I know we're like 90th in line for that money. So it's going to be a while. What we have to do right now, working with Mary Morrison, who's our representative that works with our district from the school facility board, is we had to go back and make sure that all the paperwork that Mr. Flynn did in the past is continuously being updated. And we're, as you know, we've been using a very limited very part-time outside contractor in Rich Dobson, who's our former maintenance facility director from years and years ago when the new McDowell Mountain was built. And he comes in periodically and just works on school facility board opportunities to get those things funded. And so he got that all through, so we're very proud to get that through. And now the next phase is to show that all the paperwork that's required is done, which is now done. And now we are in a place where we could go get architectural work done and get ahead of the process. But I've said no to that because I don't want to pay that out of our pocket up front. So we're waiting until we get funded to do that. So, yeah.
With the school facilities board, don't we have to expense part of it anyway, or do we get refunded anyway, or with that?
We haven't heard anything about that, so
Okay.
we're waiting to see. But there is a potential for that, and that's where the land sale money would come into play. So whatever we're responsible for on these roof replacements will come out of that land sale money once it's available. And I would assume that by the time, they said about 18 months on the land sale. I'm guessing that would be the quickest we would be approved by the school facility board. I would doubt next year we'd be in the mix, probably the following year. But hopefully everything will line up and we'll be able to do all the roof replacements at a fraction of the cost of what it would be to do it ourselves. So I do want our taxpayers to know that we're working hard to get that covered by the school facility board, but we may not get it all covered because one of the sites is on state land trust land, and therefore we are typically on the hook for some amount of that money. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I did have a question. So I do now understand that TransFinder Corporation is a software that's being used for the transportation department. I guess my question, in addition to understanding what they were, is that fee that's on there a one-time fee for that software? Are we on some kind of subscription program? How does that work?
Yeah, I believe it is on a subscription, but the first year is always the most expensive because of the onboarding and all the process that goes into building those maps and building all the work. And I just want to be clear that Ray has been one of the best stewards of our money in our district, and he does not ask for things often. So we pay for that out of capital, which we have a very healthy capital account, and that was his only request outside of his regular budget he's asked for since I've known him. So we want to make sure he had it, and with all the changes to transportation next year, as he is shared with me, this will ensure that our kids are having safe pathways to bus stops and that we're following all federal and state guidelines. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would assume possibly down the road, we might be able to, assess the ROI that we're getting out of that software.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And if we're not, we've canceled a lot of software over the last year, and the finance department, every time one is up for an expiration, they check with me to ensure we're still using it, so we can cancel the ones we no longer use or we're not getting a lot of return on investment on. Okay?
Anybody else? No? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the accounts payable vouchers. All those in favor, please say aye.
Okay, I have second. I'll second.
Oh, second, yeah. Well, I'm jumping the gun there. Okay, second, sorry. Okay, now, also, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Okay, moving on. Donations. Any questions about donations, which we are always grateful for the very generous donors in our district.
Yeah, I wanted to specifically thank whoever donated the computer for the Second Chance store at the middle school. I think that's really awesome. I love what Stephanie has done with that Second Chance store and all the opportunities that it gives our students that maybe don't have opportunities to get those kinds of things. And so I love seeing the donations come in for that.
Anybody else?
I'll add a thank you to the Golden Eagle Education Foundation for funding some of these classroom projects. And I know it might take a few more minutes worth of time to fill out these forms, but on something like that, I would love to see like the detail of what type of project it was. Like, was it a STEM, thing or whatever? So just thank you, and more detail around those projects would be great.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll move that we approve the donations. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, good, thank you. Next is the SPED hard-to-fill stipend, starting on page 59 of our packet.
Yeah, President Rakowski, members of the board and guests, Leah's here as well to answer any questions that you have. We're proposing that to avoid contracted teachers in the future and to assist Leah in hiring quality special ed teachers, which we know are very hard to find, and retaining the ones that we have that have been dedicated to our district for a long time, that we move forward with next school year with a hard-to-fill stipend for resource teachers, moving from 5,000 to 10, and moving our self-contained, which we have 2 teachers in the district, from 5,000 to 15,000. It would be a total cost of approximately $60,000 to next year's budget, but as we know, one contracted teacher is over $100,000. So we believe that this will put money into our teachers locally and hopefully make us more of an attractive opportunity for teachers looking for a small and innovative district to work for.
And this is something that came from the Meet and Confer, correct?
It was run through Meet and Confer. We did not get a lot of feedback back, is what I was told from Kaylee. Kaylee's here tonight if you want to ask her any questions about that, but yes, it was brought to them.
Okay, I just want to make sure that all the rest of the staff is comfortable with it. If they are, it makes sense.
I'm really excited about this. This was something that I was definitely championing as soon as it was brought to the table, because I hate seeing when we contract businesses that are for-profit and take up to 40% or 60% of the pay that those teachers are getting. And so in the end, we weren't saving money by using these companies, and the teachers that work for those companies weren't making any more money than they could here. And so I think this is really smart. It not only does it recognize the special qualifications and certifications that this person needs to have to be a SPED teacher, but with the total compensation, now we're one of the top in the nation with that salary. Because even in places like New York and California, the going rate is not going to be much higher than what we're offering. And so I think that we are putting ourselves in a really good position to actually save money on our SPED costs while getting top qualified people and hopefully keeping them in-house. I think that that's going to be the best for our students.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and just want to reiterate that we continue, and I do at my level, to share out the concerns that we've had with this whole contracted process. And so I know a lot of districts are following a lot of what we're doing, and it is a hot topic among superintendents across the state. So I think we've done a good job as a small district bringing this issue. I know I've brought it to different superintendent organizations and just shared how much it hurts a small district like ourselves. And this will definitely position us in a way to be able to let Ms. Brown work to get closer to the appropriate pay range. Was there anything else part of that other than just the stipends? Okay, I just want to make sure.
I think there would be better commitment from the teachers that they're part of our district. You know, they would feel that they belong much better than if they're hired by the outside company.
Absolutely.
And we are counseling any teachers that want to get a SPED certificate on how to do that, and we will assist them in any way because there will always be openings. And so if young teachers are looking at self-contained, might be something I never thought of, but I might want to do, Ms. Brown will work with them to get them set up in a program and get them certified as quick as possible to stay in our district.
I love that too, because I think that's also important. We've talked about pathways to move up in the district. That's
Yeah.
another essentially a way that a teacher that maybe feels that they want more opportunities and more pay to move up even within the, kind of the same field, which I think is wonderful. I do just want to confirm one more time that if we do end up hiring a contracted company, they do not qualify for the stipend.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other comments?
Well, I would like to see, since we're working so closely with ASU, then maybe they can give the teachers discounts or take the courses for less. which
You know,
would help.
that's a great point. And we've looked at that for, in fact, Chris and I have started that research for classified employees as well, that want to get into teaching, if there's a way to use that partnership to do that. And we do have several employees in the district I'm very proud of that have come out of the classified employee group and are now certified teachers. So we've been pushing that, and I know we've had initial discussions with Dave on that, and I think the next step is to meet with Arizona State about what opportunities we can do with that.
We did that in Ohio.
Yeah.
Talked to Barry Pinto with Ohio State.
Yeah.
They used to do that with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Who would like to make the motion to approve?
I move we approve the SPED hard to fill stipend.
I'll
second.
Oh, you did. Go ahead. Kim will second. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to budget reductions. Page 62 of our packet. Any additional comments or any questions for Dr. J on this? We've discussed this at length.
I wanted to make a couple comments, just because of, some of the discussions that have taken place. I want there to be clarity around why there's even these budget cuts, and it's because of enrollment, and so anything that we can do to boost enrollment is going to help change the situation. I know that some people have had a hard time with some of the cuts that we've had to make, especially when it comes to staff, but in the end, with a shrinking student population, there's only so many staff members that we can afford to hold on to, and so again, it really goes back to enrollment. And the other thing is that we as a board will approve reductions and things like that, but we really defer to the day-to-day admin and the people that are really hands-on and that understand these things. And so we do trust who we're working with the suggestions that have been made. And so I think that when the board does approve reductions, it's actually a sign of confidence in our leadership. So even though it's something that's difficult to do, again, it ties directly to student enrollment. So if we can all come together and work on student enrollment, we might not be facing budget reductions in the future. But I just wanted people to know that these actions are, a vote of confidence in our leadership, and we trust that they can get done what they need to get done with what they've reserved. So I appreciate our admin in that.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I commend you all on the work you've done to identify how we can face reality with these budget reductions. Any other comments?
Move we approve the budget reductions.
I'll second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous. All right, next is the issuance of 2025-26 support staff work agreements. on page 63. Any comments about this or questions? If not, I'll move that we approve the issuance of 2025-26 support staff work agreements. Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next up, the issuance of 2025-26 coach agreements. Any questions or comments on this one? If not, I'll move that we approve the 2025-26 coach agreements. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving right along. Issuance of the 2025-26 administrative contracts on page 65. Any questions or comments about this one? Okay, I'll move that we approve the issuance of 2025-26 administrative contracts. Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next up is the supplemental reading material, and this is for what? The Swiss Family Robinson. Any questions or comments about this one?
I wanted to make a couple comments. I just wanted to thank the district for the effort with Life of Pi.
Sure.
To taking that extra step. I already had a parent that told me it's not a concern for them, but they really appreciate the attention that we gave to the matter and the fact that we gave them references, and thank you, Rich, for doing that part of the work. And I think that that goes a long way with families when, you know, they're given a completely transparent opportunity.
Well, that's a compliment for you all, not for us, so.
I just read another book, but that's coming up later.
We appreciate the feedback, and we took it and went with it, and we're totally open to making sure everyone feels comfortable about things that happen in our district, so thank you as well.
Anything else? Okay, who would like to move to approve with Swiss Family Robinson?
I move to approve the Swiss Family Robinson, which I find amazing. I remember reading it in school, so it's
I'll
pretty good it's
second.
still around.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, on to information and discussion items, starting with athletic field maintenance worker. Dr. J, you'd like to
Yes.
explain?
Yes, Dr. Rakowski, members of the board and guests, what we're considering right now, and we're still in consideration phase, so that's why we want to bring it to you for feedback. We are looking at a position that would be solely extracurricular, for extracurricular activities, outside of the regular maintenance of the district, to maintain the baseball field, softball field, football field at McDowell Mountain, and any other extracurricular outdoor areas, which I think that's probably the biggest three. The reason we're looking at this is due to our budget cuts last year, which were all administrative. We are a very lean department right now in maintenance and landscaping. And they're having a hard time managing all of the sites and the time and effort that goes into the field. And although the coaches put in a lot of effort to the field, they're not there year-round, and that's where we have issues. So we've looked at the last couple of years, and we've had to put money into those fields to get them up to par for the season. And I think that having somebody manage it throughout the year would resolve that. So what we're looking at is under 20 hours, be part-time, and at a rate that would be equivalent to what we pay, any other maintenance worker. It would be a very small cost in the end compared to what can go into repairing these fields that get really behind. We are working with the auditor, our auditor, the county, to ensure that the way we fund it is okay to do. And what we're proposing, which we got to make sure is okay, is to pay for it out of tax credit money. So that's where we have to check. So it wouldn't be an M&O cost. If it is going to be an M&O cost, then most likely we would not bring it back to you for a approval because we don't want to add to our M&O cost. So initial discussion was it probably fits and it's probably okay to do, but we want to get multiple yeses before we do anything permanently. If that is possible to do, then we would be paying for that out of a different account. And those 3 very large, time-consuming areas would be taken off our maintenance and landscaping team, and we'd be able to maintain those fields year-round, possibly rent them more, which is another opportunity. And then we're not coming into the season like we did this year, and we needed about $20,000 worth of work on that baseball field to get it up to par for the season for safety reasons. What happens is the lip of the infield and outfield becomes an issue over time. And I can tell you back when I was principal here that hundreds of thousands of dollars have gone into that field over the years to maintain it. And I believe we had someone who, like I said, worked 15 to 20 hours a week, year round, could really keep that field up to par without having to put in that extra time. So that's just a proposal. Just want to get your feedback before we move forward with it.
With it being paid out of tax credits, isn't that like a cash controlled account? And how would we guarantee that we have enough tax credits coming in to maintain that position?
We wouldn't. If we ran out or became a position we couldn't maintain, we would just have to reduce it and cut it.
Do we have a large tax credit account right now that
We do.
has okay, so we know that we have
Between the 3 sites right now, roughly, Craig's here, and Chris, I think about 170,000 in those accounts.
Okay.
And I would also throw it out if, and I've already put it out there a little bit, if we can't use tax credit, because we're not going to do anything wrong, like we're going to make sure we do it right. This might be something that some of our sports parents might want to come together and go out and get donations to run. I could tell you that there's been stories in the paper in the athletic or sports section of the Arizona Republic over the years of different field workers that have worked at different high schools for decades taking care of the field. And one story I remember was when they went to turf and how sad they were that the grass they'd maintained forever was gone. There are people who take a lot of pride in that work, and I just look at it as that'd be a great job for a retiree in town, 15, 20 hours out in the sun. They could pick their hours. They just got to make sure that it stays up to date, the water's working, the plumbing's working. But this would alleviate a lot of problems we have with not only the frustration coaches have of getting to their season and the field is not in the best of shape, but last minute purchases we have to do. And it would alleviate Juan's team of having to manage all those areas, which they could focus on other areas of the sites that would, instead of, we've had to cut their positions back, but if we cut the work back, it kind of evens out over time. So just kind of came out of a discussion about the baseball field not being ready for a game recently and the frustration that Coach Langer's had with that. And we don't want our coaches to feel that way if we can avoid it.
I agree. I appreciate the creativity to use tax credits because I think that those it makes sense. It's for extracurricular after school type.
And it's not
costs.
capital, it's paying people or services,
Yes.
so that's why we think we'd probably be okay.
I appreciate that creativity, and then if we are able to rent it out more, maybe that's funds that could also go to cover.
We just recently, Chris has been working on a baseball rental for about $10,000. We got our first check from pickleball. They paid all the way through the end of the year, so it was a big check. It was a nice one to get. And we also have a local basketball club that's renting our elementary gym. So between all of that, in the next fiscal year, we could see rentals on just those 3 of $70,000, which pays a position in the district, that can come off of M&O or go to facility repairs, things like that. So I want to explore it more, but I just want to see if you had an appetite for me to explore it more, that position.
I think this would be money well spent.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
We're all good?
So it'll probably be not the next meeting, but possibly a month from now to give me some time to ensure I have everything lined up to bring back to you. And then Kaylee would make a job description, and like I said, we don't want to exceed over 20 hours a week on that. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks. All right, next up is policy advisories from 8:09 to 8:18. So our last meeting, we discussed this at length, and basically what I did is I kind of melded all our things and merged things, and what you see in your packet is basically the result of that. There are a couple of things that I wanted to clarify, though. Starting with, let's see, page 73, policy AC. In the second line of that, you'll see the phrase "any other basis prohibited by law," and I think we had some discussion about that, whether to keep it or not, because it's also on page 99, right? 99. It's also in 99, and it's struck through on page. So the question is whether we want that phrase in there or not, and it should be in both policies or not in both policies. The only question that is, is kind of non-specific.
My vote would be to not have it in there. I think
that'd be my inclination
again, Title
too.
IX is broad and kind of covers all those things, and the non-discrimination covers all of the areas, and so I think it is a little bit redundant, and I think it opens it up in a way that is a little uncomfortable for me.
And something could be in law and subject to litigation, so this says we kind of have to follow it even though it's subject to litigation. So my preference is to remove it from both page 73 and page 99, section C.
That's my preference as well.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Others, are we okay with that, or?
Yeah, it should be consistent.
Okay, so it's out of both of those. So you got that, Krista? It's JII, Student Concerns, Complaints, and Grievances. And this is in kind of the middle of the page, subsection C. It's the end of subsection C. And it's, on the copy we have distributed, there's a cross-out.
Yeah, it is crossed out.
Which I don't think I did that, but I don't know. Maybe I did do that when I sent it in. But it should be, so it'll be strucken from both of those. Okay. And then the other one that I have, I guess, a question or a clarification on is our page 96 and 97. So let me go to...
You know what, so Rich, let me explain to you what happened there. You made the changes.
Yeah.
And then I took it and I compared it to what I wrote down. And you guys had originally wanted that stricken out. And so it looks like it didn't get done on here.
Yeah. Well, there's two other changes in that one, too. This is policy AD, Educational Philosophy School District Mission.
No, I think she's still talking about
She's
the
talking
first
about
one.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
JII. So
Right.
that was me, and what I would have done, or should have done, and I missed it, was I would have removed that because it was stricken from this policy. It was not stricken from the one you wrote, though.
We do want it stricken from
Yeah, so you
AC
take it out
as
of
well.
AC also, the second line of AC. Okay, so that's that one. So the other one is policy AD, and this is our page 96. So the second paragraph there, it is replaced with the district, which is in red, so that's fine.
I made that because that was what you guys were.
Yeah, but there was one other one that I think wasn't...
You know what is interesting about this one? This is the one that they wanted to eliminate the entire policy, and you guys did not. So when you printed up, when you got your clean copy from ASBA, it didn't include this.
It didn't, okay.
Right,
So
so
if
you
we
didn't work
could,
with this
if we could throw it back in, but there's a couple other changes that I think we discussed, and just for clarity, I'll verify that we discussed these and it's agreeable with everybody. So one was this, the district instead of it. The other one is in the parents paragraph. So it says the board recognizes that the ultimate responsibility for the well-being of all children rests with their parents. And the next question says all parents. My question is, should it also include parents or guardians, since that might apply to some students?
I would agree that it should say or
I
guardian.
think so, yes.
So in the first sentence, the parents paragraph, with their parents or guardians, and then the next sentence, all parents or guardians are expected. And I think that's the only place there that that applies. And then there was, the last one is in the students section. In the first, okay, the middle line there, the third line of the students paragraph. Work diligently to help ensure that their maximum potentials, right now it says are realized, and I think we suggested it would be changed to are achieved. Just to I think it makes more sense if others agree that it should be are achieved rather than are realized.
I would agree with that.
Okay. Everyone else good with that?
Not opposed.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's all I have. So unless there are other things, this will come up probably the next meeting for approval, right? And then there's more policies to come, and I'm working on those. They're not as complicated, though. They're not as complicated, they're much easier. So, okay. Back to, what did I do with my agenda here? Yeah, I got it in all my piles of stuff, thank you. Okay, so that's it for information discussion items. So future action, in addition to the things listed here, cell phone policy, club policies, ESA voucher students in sports, and student outcomes such as report cards and proficiency data, I think we'll be adding that Power School breach litigation as an action item coming up.
And then I also,
Others?
on my notes, I had written, I'd love for us to have a discussion on Four Peaks, since we technically haven't decided if the board's gonna sell it or not, but and whether or not we're gonna do that, what we're gonna do with it while it's sitting empty. So,
Okay.
thank you.
It is in the contract with the Realtor, right?
It is.
With preference not...
But once the
Yeah.
board still has to vote.
Okay, yeah. Okay, other future items?
No, in hearing the speaker today,
I found it.
when we were doing the pledge, the main speaker really did bring a big point about cell phones. So I thought that was very interesting. And we talked to her afterwards and said, actually, we're looking into that as a district.
And the principals were directed to start having those conversations in their coffees and then start bringing it to students and then survey data as part of that. So we'll remind them in our next principal meeting to make sure they're keeping up with that.
Yeah, and I'm not aware if it's passed the legislature yet, but it probably will, given the previous thing it passed.
We also have a town hall scheduled about cell phone policy coming up. So we'll give you that date real quick.
April 22nd.
April 22nd.
6:30
in this room. So please join us and give your feedback on that.
Oh, the other thing, Krista, about these policies, so on each of these pages it says, note these are clean copies, so those would have to be removed before we actually, thank you. Okay. All right, so dates of upcoming meetings, April 16th, 2025 and May 7th, 2025, starting at 6 p.m. right here. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Need signatures?
Yeah, probably so.
I do a girl card, right? You gotta like, it's like, it is. It really is. That's so funny.
Are you trying?
It's good.
It's funny, the last meeting, I must have left my charger cord for my iPod down here and left it still here. Hi.
Yeah. Did you spell the